guy here we go. There's the back. Bringing it up, that's not too bad. Okay, let's get that sound going so you can hear me. Alrighty, so what do we need to do? We need to grab this body, and we've got that body. We need to get in there and drill those holes. I've got the drill bit too. I've got black hardware. It's got Mr. Glynn's Cruel Mistress vintage telly pickups, brass saddles, bone nut. It's all good. Where the weed at? What's going on? Thank you for the follow. Good to see you. Welcome on in. Who? Okay, so that's that guy there. But that's to show you that copper-looking red cedar when it really gets polished up. It really looks copperish. Come here, little guy. Come here, my little boy. That's working. Okay, good. Can you hear me? You can hear me. Excellent. Thumbs up. Righto, where are we? How are you doing all? Welcome on in. Willie Wonko just subscribed. Ooh, Willie, you are the best. 20 months. Some sound now. Excellent. Let me turn that up, Tom. Make sure there's enough sound there. That should be loud enough. Let's see. Let's get some more sound going on here. Where's our volume? Here it is. Volume is right up. Okay, cool. Should be good to go, I think. Are we good to go? I think we're good to go. Okay. Tom's here. Dana's here. Good to see you. Willie Wonko. Terry, thank you very much for the resub. How are you going? You guys are starting off the week or ending the week on fire. Dana's here as well. Hope you're well. The chewed up Rooster's hat. This is my Rooster's hat, and that is the work of Buddy. It's all good. New router. New Makita router. Big plunge router. This one's going to help us work on future builds. I need to recut that plate and get this plate on that extension piece of plexiglass that I use. That one is a lot heavier. It's got a 3/8 collar as well as a 1/4 inch, so I can take some bigger, more, let's say, robust bits in there as well. It's got a nice trigger control right here. It's got a lock for the height. We can, this is obviously spring loaded, and we can lock that at a certain height. What else have we got? Depth stops. We've got a depth gauge there. All this new stuff. I've got that router. Tom, it's a good router. It's a very good router. And I just had to splurge and get a couple of more routers. Now we've had some rain here. There's a little bit of moisture around the place. One of my pumps over there failed, so I've got to go to the hardware store after that and replace the pump. I've got 2 recesses here where they take excess water under the building. If there's ever any water that comes in, it goes into like a trap and it pumps it out. The trap's full. It's okay. I saved the day that we didn't flood the place out. But yeah, we always get a little, from heavy rain. We always get a little bit in the traps, and it usually pumps them out. Anyway, this is our neck. Where are we? Look at this. We've got that on there. We've got the thickness done. Got to clean up the edges. We've got the right thickness. So that's ready for tuner holes once we get the tuners. What we want to do today is we've also got these edges nice and straight, almost. There's a little bit of a waver down here. We're going to cut out this tenon. You can see how we've got a 1/4 inch of each side. It's got to come off. That's your tenon in there. We've got to cut that guy down. We've got to also put the fretboard on and get this guy ready to sit aside while we do the carving. Now, I might carve a little bit outside. I may not. That sander get it done? Yeah, it does. The sander's done a great job. Look at that. It's like it took me about 10 minutes and It's a ripper. So I'm going to put the sander back on now and just going to finalise this last little bit here. It's a little bit on the chunky side on one side. In actual fact, I shouldn't use that sander. I should use the flat sander up there. This one's a little bit... I'm going to bring the flat sander up here. I'm going to use that guy. So I'm going to move that now. Pop this guy off here. And I'm going to switch them over because I've got a little bit on the end to do before I cut those that tenon joint. In actual fact, I should probably cut the tenon and then straighten the edges. That's a good idea. I'll do that. Let's cut the tenon. Okay. I've got to move this anyway, so let's get this guy off. Clamp it down, Terry. Clamp it down. It is nice and light. It's not too heavy. Makes it easy. Forward. Go up here. Okay, let's move this guy out of the way. Make some room just here on this little saw lacquer, as I call it. Doobie whacker. We're going to pop this guy over here. Get it right up in the corner there, like so. And clamp that guy in. How many clamps do we need, Terry? Lots. Clamped. Clamp it up. Tears McTears. Another clamp on this side. And that ain't moving. I'm going to saw that guy straight down there. I've got a line on each side. We'll get the Japanese pull sword. We've got a sub train going. We've got a sub train going. Is that what they call it? A sub train? Is that what the cool kids call it these days? It's a hype train. Thank you very much, guys, for your support. Cheered 500 bits, 200 bits from Dana, 500 from Terry. They're kicking it along. Maui Lynn with a big 500. Aloha, Lynn. How are you? Good to see you. Let me move this thing away. Put that guy down there. This guy away. And we'll get some sawing done. I'll flip over to the other camera. Saw that guy there. Okay. Let's go down here. Let's grab our saw. Rightio. This little guy. Right, we're going to bring that guy straight down there. Mark that out. Just check the alignment. Looks good. down on the line, which is good. We've just got to keep that line now. These clamps aren't ideal for this setup, but they'll do the job, but I just got to be careful. It's looking good. We're there. Okay, one side done. Other side. Let's go. Get that marked. Beautiful. Let's go. Doesn't matter if it's on the outside of the line. I'm going to trim that guy down, so don't sweat it too much. These clamps aren't really working that well. Should hold. cross cut this time. Change the blade over. Enjoy. There it is. Okay, so we've cut that guy out. Just need to square off this side here. I'm going to use a rasp on that guy. There's a little bit of a bump in there. I cut it a little bit crooked, but that's okay. We've got this rasp here. I'll flatten it out in no time. It's all right on this side. It's a bit high on this side. Now this should be a tight fit. We're going to try and fit it on this guy. See what we've got so far. Remember, we still have to cut the heel at a 40-degree angle. We're not going to do that yet. Let's just get this guy in here and do a test fit. Hype train completed, level 3. Thank you very much. Dana with a gifted sub. Appreciate that. Willie with 300 of Van Walen's bits that she found on the back of the couch. Maui Lynn with 500 bits. Dana with another 200, Terry with 500, Willie with 200 more from Willie. She must have found his spare cash. Dana with 700 bits. That's big, 700 bits. Terry with a resub, of course. 24 months at tier 1. Very, very nice. Willie won't go resub for 20 months at tier 1. And that's great support, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Now, this is very tight. Obviously, it doesn't fit, and that's the way I want it, because I want to be able to have a massively tight fit. This needs a little bit of feathering and work, but we won't be fitting this until we get this angle done with the 4-degree pitch. Then we'll be able to fit that nice and snugly, and that's going to be touching that at the what we call 16th fret, crossing over. Take a little bit off there. See if we can get that snugly fit in there. It's almost fitting. It's almost fitting. And I did deliberately leave it like that. The good news is it's lined up perfectly with the edge. So when that's bound, it'll be schmicko, right down flush with the binding on the body. So that's going to look quite good when that's in there like so. Let's see what I've got here. A couple of little bumps here and there. So I'm not going to, I could take a little bit off this side here. A little bit of room there. There we go. Starting to get that in there. Almost there, almost there. I don't want it to be too loose. I'm keeping it nice and tight. almost in there. You can just see it's a little bit wider than it needs to be. That's okay because we've got a little bit of cleaning up to do here, and then that'll be able to fit. Okay, so what have we got left to do now? We've got to start sanding this guy here, right? We've got to get this guy cleaned up. So, without further ado, firstly, before we do that, let's get rid of this. Let's sort this guy out. So I need to get that fitted in there. So I'm going to take a little bit more off here, and then we'll be able to fit that in there, put the fretboard on, and we're done for this. Good, looking good. Really tight. I'm going to leave it at that. You can see it's almost in, holds itself up. But the reason I'm not pushing it all the way in is because I want to leave it, put the fretboard on, and then just feather that channel. After I do the 4-degree pitch, I want to check the width. It could be narrow, it could be wider at the bottom there. So I'm just going to double check that by having it nice and tight and just enough to grip, like so. We're going to have the perfectly tight fit when it comes to fitting that neck in there, right? So we can actually, look, I can actually pick that up. It's very tight and very snug, and that's what we want. That's a Japanese pull saw. It is Willie. It's my little Japanese pull saw. It's it's a razor saw made in Japan. It has got the straight cut edge for cutting with the grain, which is what I did going down the tenon, and it's got the little tinier cross-cut, ziggy-zaggy teeth for to rip across the grain. Greg, what is happening? Orby in the house. What's happening, brother? Good show today. I really enjoyed that. Lots of good music. If you haven't followed Orby, follow him. On Fridays, he has the Fuzz radio show, as I call it. He plays some really cool indie music, and it's awesome. Thank you, Orby. I appreciate that little contribution in the music world. It's quite a good hang. It's a good hangout. Let's get the fretboard on here, and let's get that guy ready to glue up. Terry, you excited? Now, before we do that, I need to get this guy square. So what I need here is my little rasp. And I just need to take off a little tiny bit of the end of that purple heart. Make it square, like so. And I'll show you what I'm doing there, just so you know exactly what I mean by that. So that's where we're going to have the gap for the nut. If I grab a nut, to quote our friend Tom, if I grab a nut, see the fretboard goes in there like so, and the nut will go in there like so. So it fits flush up against there, and that's where that goes. So what we're going to do is we're going to pretty much get this guy in there now, glue that on, and then we're going to radius that, trim it down a radius at the next show. But I want to glue this down so we're good to go. So let's measure out the center of this guy. I can see the center line down here. That's pretty cool. Just want to make sure this is centered. So let me grab this guy here, place him over the top, like so. Bring it down to where it needs to be, like so. That's perfect. Mark that center spot. the top there. Perfecto. Let's get the long edge. Spot on. That's exactly where we want to be. We've got that centered right there. Just pop that down here again. Just redraft this line here. Just fade it a little bit, just make it a bit darker. Okay, there's our dark line. And now we can line up this guy perfectly to the center here. Right there. And right there, like so. And I'm just going to clamp that up. Okay, there's a little bit of a crooked, is that crooked? A little bit on the crooked side just. Okay, I need to take some of this off. That's better. That's spot on. That's good. And that's where the neck's going to go. Like that. We've got to glue that guy in. Glue that guy in. And then we're going to have to bind this when we cut it. Now I'm thinking, do I bind it first? It might be, but I don't want to bind it first because I need to make sure that I marry up with the edges here. Before we do that, I need to file these edges here slightly. So I'm going to use the sander and just sand these edges. Let me grab my sander, this guy here. Pop him on there. Okay. Take it away from me. Right, this guy here. I'll do a Terry and quickly clamp it down. Terry, do we need to clamp it down? Absolutely, we need to clamp it down. And we're just going to quickly put a mask on and just sand that very lightly on the ends and get that nice and square. Mask it up, Terry. It's only a little bit of sanding, not too much. It should be okay. Just the end. Perfect. Good. This way. Right, that's perfect. That's nice and straight. So now we can get this guy on there. Okay. All right. So we need the truss rod. Now I need to cut that little hole out of there. Extend that little trench down there. So I need a hole in there. Got to slot this away. Let's see if I can fit the truss rod in there. Yeah, it's not going to go in there. I've got to cut that away. Essentially, I'm going to drill some holes in there and in this file. That's straight. That's getting covered with a truss rod cover anyway. So I'm going to drill some holes down there. I'll just mark that center line. Okay, mark that guy. The rain's coming down again. Here comes the rain again, as Annie Lennox sang, falling on my head. There's our little guy that we need to get in there. Hole right there. Where's our drill, Terry? Here it is. Terry's scared of drills. Did I tell you that Terry was scared of drills? She's petrified. Absolutely petrified. I had the right drill bit somewhere here. Where is it? Here it is. This guy here. Start with a hole right in the middle there. And that's the end. Do another one right here. rod? It does. There it is, perfectamundi, and it's just under the cover. Perfect. We just have to cover that up with a truss rod cover. We're going to make one out of this piece of blackwood, a nice ornamental cover. That rod is sitting in there nice and tight. It's not deep enough in there. Let me just double check that. Okay, I need to go a little bit deeper on the headstock here. Let me pull that out if I can, or is that better? No, it's a little bit high here. Okay, I've got to go down a bit deeper, just slightly deeper. I'm going to get my fine chisel, which I've got right here. Little curved chisel. I'm just going to shave this guy a little bit here. Ever so slightly. A little bit on the front end. Just here. File that clean. Just checking the fit first, making sure everything is a-okay and everything is under the hood. That is perfect. Right, we're good to go. That's ready. That's ready for Steady Freddy. Get that out. And file that flat. Just going to grab a little rasp. I have my rasp. What did I do with it? Grab this little guy here. Just smooth out these edges. Okay. Nice. One side. Two sides. Clean up a little bit of scrap. Okay, and there's the adjusted cavity. That's getting covered up with a little doobie whacker, but that now takes the truss rod well, like so. So we put that guy in. It's well under the cover. It's very good. Can we get a key in there? That's the question. So I may need to go a little bit longer with the hole. Once I push that back into place, that's good. Now the question is, will I reach that with a key? Let me grab a key and I'll test it. That's the ultimate moment of truth. I think it's a 4mm key. Or is it bigger? Let me just test the size of that keyhole. See which Allen key we're taking. It is indeed that one. Let's pop that in. Into position. It doesn't reach. I need to take another little bit of that. Keep going. Like so. clean that out. Clean the fibres. I like to clean out all the gunk. I don't like leaving anything in there that doesn't belong there. There we go. Let's double check that. Okay, we're in. And our key fits in beautifully. So we can now turn that guy. And that's what we need to do, be able to get in there without damaging any of the other pieces of timber. What we're going to do is cut a little piece of cover, and that's going to sit up next to the nut like that. And we'll cover that cavity with about an inch and a half of little plate there that's going to have Majestic written on it. Isn't it, Terry? Is it going to have Majestic written on it? And now, ladies and germs, we can fix this guy in and glue this down. Okay? Right. Tape over this guy. Yes, of course. Tape and glue, Terry, that's the one. Nine half-litre cans. Yeah, that's 4.5. 9 half-litre, 9 fives are 45. 4.5 litres, that's a pint. Or no, that's a gallon. That's a gallon. Right. Am I happy with that? No, I'm not. Why am I not happy with it, Terry? Because there's a little bump right here. I've got to clean out the little bump. Right here. Now let's try. Now we're cooking. Now we're good. Now there's no bump. This is to keep the glue out of the channel. I'm going to use a scalpel. I'm going to cut along the edges here and get rid of the excess. Tape, which will provide more gluing surface for the fretboard, but still covers the cavity nicely to keep the glue out from fouling up the rod. Okay, let's do this. Come on, machine. Let's get a little bit of this guy out. There we go. All right, that's as neat as it gets. We're going to glue the fretboard on now. What do we need, Terry? Do we need clamps and glue? I think it's clamps and glue is what you're after. Centered right there and right there. Let me just quickly clamp that up and just measure a couple of things to make sure, of course, that we are centered. There's a couple of checks that I can do. Okay, now we know where the middle is. Let's feather this stuff. The good thing with that hide glue is if we ever need to remove the fretboard, we can just by injecting steam into the neck. We drill a hole through the neck, through one of the fret slots, and we literally pump a little hose. We pump a tiny little hose, a little bit of steam in there. You can also put a nice piece of foil on there and run over it with an iron, and that will make the glue, the hide glue with the steam and the heat will make the hide glue soften, and you can actually peel off that. Don't let rage get control, though. Rage who? My rage? No, my rage is fine. It's the other rage we've got to worry about, the one that makes guitars. He's the dude we've got to be careful about with. Okay, that's nice and spread evenly. We can glue that guy down. I haven't got much time left. I've got half an hour. But we can get a little bit done in half an hour, which is great. So let's get this guy lined up and glued down. Clamp it up, Terry. I've always made sure the end, this is nice and smooth. About 80 grit. There's a little bit of fiber. You can feel a little bit of grain, which is good. It's going to bite. The glue is going to bite into that. But it's important not to have any bumps on the back, so I always get them thickness properly. That's where I want it, right there. And this guy's got to go right in the middle like that. And that's got to go up like that. Now we're going to fart ass around, as I think that's the technical term, fart assing around to get this right. first things first, line it up, get some pressure down on that guy, and swidge it around a little bit, squish it around. That's it. And the rain's coming down, and we should be good to go in a minute. That's pretty much it right there. That's perfect. Okay, let's get that guy down, as they say, with the sickness. I'm happy with that. That's bloody good. Okay, that's centered. Clamps, Terry. We'll start with one on the end. Yeah. Just in the middle somewhere. 2/3 of the way down, or 3/4 of the way down. Make sure it doesn't slide off the center. It hasn't. Has it? It has. Tap it back a little bit. There we go. That's good. This side's lined up and ready to rock and roll. Get this guy up here done. And we're there. Great. We've got squeeze out all the way along. That's really good. Squeeze out at the back. That's really good. We've got a nice tight bond. Let's get the other clamps on there. Terry, how many do we need? Whew. BTM, what's going on, brother? Are you well? One on the end. One up this end. One in the middle. And then I'm going to loosen the ends up slightly. Get two in the middle, actually. One there. And one there. Loosen this guy up. And tighten. Loosen up. Loosen up. And tighten. Loosen up. What I've done there is all the tension from the ends pushing in, I've now pushed down in the middle to stop it from bowing up. And by undoing these just slightly, it just goes, the tension in the fibre. You won't notice it with the eye, but when there's tension there, there's tension there. And ask Terry about tension. It's not a good thing. And now we can tighten that guy and get the rest on there. More clamps, Terry. I like to look at the board, make sure it's not warped in any way. It looks pretty good to me. Awesome. More clamps. All the clamps. All the clamps. Absolutely all the clamps. Right. What song is that, Terry? It's not a game show. I have no idea what it is. I may have just made it up. More clamps. We got heaps of clamps. We're getting all the clamps. Not all the clamps, most of the clamps. Not a clue. Dana is the music expert. Dana is an expert. Never enough. It's probably, there's never enough clamps, man. the song could be called Never Enough too. It's a subliminal reference to the clamps. If the song was called Never Enough and it was about clamps, it would be Terry's favourite song. Just quietly. Well, it's true. Down and squeeze. Let's move these down and put a couple more in, eh? Terry, what do you reckon? Terry, what do you reckon? Is that a good idea? Move these down and get some more in there. Absolutely. This guy there. More clamps. God. We've got Buddy, clamp 15. They've got names. BTM, did you know that Terry and Dana named the clamps one day? We've actually written names on. This is Buddy, named after my dog. I don't know why the clamp's called Buddy, but this one's called Steve. Who the hell's Steve? I never knew who Steve was. Terry, who is Steve? This one is called Cowbell, after this guy. Named after that famous guy, hanging on the ceiling there. Cowbell. Steve Irwin, that's it. How could I? Oh, because they're Irwin clamps, of course. How silly of me. That is very ingenious. Even though you and Dana thought of it, it still ended up being ingenious. That was meant to be a compliment. I don't know how it turned out like that. More clamps. Oh, this one's a bit tricky here. We've got the volute, not the volute, the heel. Okay, still got room for a couple more, Terry. Let's get two more. Flamed. Flamed is after the maple, right? Is that right? Is that right? Flamed. Or is it named after flaming sambucas? Yed. Yed. Return of the Yedi. Blue Jean. Named after the Flying V. The denim coated Flying V. That's all the space we've got for clamps, Terry, just quietly. We're all clamped out. There you have it. Clamps are done. There it is. I'm going to leave that there. And got a little bit of time left. The weather's terrible, so I can't really do any carving in here. It's going to fly everywhere if I do. Okay, let's see if we can make some binding. I'm going to put this body away. We're going to make a little bit of binding out of maple. Okay, that body's safe. Let's get this neck out of here. So there it is there, ladies and germs. Pretty impressive, huh? Look at that fretwork. My goodness. There we go. So we'll get this guy. Where will we get this guy? In the other room. And then we're going to make some maple binding. Okay. First things first. With maple binding, we're not going to make the maple binding. We're going to splice and join these 2 foot lengths. Like so. We need to join pretty much 3 together. Okay, we've got to splice 3 together and then get them in the right thickness. So first things first is we need to get them to the right thickness. And to do that, it's quite easy. We take these guys. Firstly, we need to give them square edges, right? So they're a bit wonky, but they're very, very close. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the thickest ones and the widest ones There's 2. I'll grab 3. There's 3. That one's actually got a very straight edge, which is great. Now we need to flatten the edges on those and get one edge at least to be spot on. We're going to do both, but I can do one edge definitely. So if I go back to this angle here, move this camera like so, and flip you guys over like a pancake. We're just going to run this over here and get this guy flat to start with. So, get a mask on, because Terry will cry if we don't get a mask on. We don't like making Terry cry. We need an emote of someone crying. Let's get this flat edge done. Okay. The objective here is to splice them. So if you can see that, we've got a nice piece, thick piece. We're going to thin that out. But at the end, it's a lot thinner. You can see how it weathers away. Same with this end here. See how it weathers away to a thinner end? What we do is we splice these two together, like so, to make a piece that is consistently thick right through. So we glue them together and clamp them. And that will give us a longer piece that we can then bend and create the binding. So when you have short 2-foot lengths of binding, we can splice them like that, use PVA glue, which is a little bit better resistant to heat than the other glue, the hide glue is, because that'll melt if we put that under friction. So what we do is we use a bit of PVA, get these bound up together, then we work on getting the thickness right. Now I could take some of the thickness out already with this guy. I'll keep going. So that guy's ready to go. And we've got to do these two as well, and then we'll make one length. Okay, does that make sense, Terry? We're splicing. Binding is the splice of life. we're going to do this one. Okay, that's two. So those two will go together like that. They'll go together like that to give us one long piece that's consistently thick through there. Okay, one more piece. Okay, done. Now we glue these little mothers together. Grab the PVA this time. Grab the PVA this time. Just need a little dab. We'll put this guy away. All right, so here we are, have our 3 little pieces. And we're going to turn them into a 6-foot length. They're about, it's probably less than 2 feet. It's about 1.5 feet, so we've got about 4.5 feet there, I'd say. What have we got? We got 45 centimeters, 18 inches. So there's 1.5 feet. 1.5 feet. Okay, so 4.5 feet, more than enough for one complete side. On this tiny screen, it looks like Manny's going to accidentally sand his fingers off. No, I won't do that. Glues and clamps, Terry. Glues and clamps. We're going to use the little hand clamps. These little guys here. We need 3 of those. 1, 2, 3. And we'll see how we go with that. Okay, first things first, bit of glue. Just dump one end in. So. Spread that up there. And don't worry about the edges. We're going to square things off after we completely pinch them together. I probably need 2 here. Need more glue. A little bit more glue. One side, and we've got to add this guy to this end as well, like so, right there, perfecto. Okay, glue. There we go. There we go. Put that on. One. I'll just grab another clamp. Sit, boo-boo, sit. Good dog. Done. Let that sit there for a few hours. That will dry off. Now we need to make sure this is sitting nice and flat. There. That ain't going anywhere. That'll glue up nicely. Then we can work on smoothing those edges out. Once that binding goes on, once that binding's on, we'll be able to scrape it flush, so you won't see any lumps or joins or bumps or anything like that. What doesn't seem possible? Anyway, it's possible. Anything's possible, Terry. Stop stressing out. We're all good. It's all good. And that, my friends, is that. And I am done for this stream. I'm going to fix my camera. At least my sound's working a lot better. That Dana didn't have a comment. Command. Okay. No, that's cool. Tom, thank you very much, mate. We will be back very soon, probably on Monday. Tomorrow I pick up a new truck. I'm so excited. I'm getting a new truck tomorrow. It's not a new truck. It's a used truck, but it's a new truck for me. So I'm looking forward to picking that up down a couple of hours south of where I am, down in the country, and picking up this truck so I can put more things in the truck. I've had the same little bomb for years, so I owe it to myself, I think. Anyway, I'll see you again on Monday, folks. Stay tuned. What kind of truck? It's not a big truck. We don't have big trucks like you. It's just a utility, what we call a ute here. It's a mid-range diesel, 6-speed manual diesel 4x4. It's a Mazda BT50. It's the only thing that fits in my garage, so otherwise I'd get a bigger truck, but it's nice. Yeah, 4x4, 6-speed manual, turbo diesel, 3 litre 5 diesel 5-cylinder. It's a nice, powerful engine, and I look forward to it. Anyway, guys, I'll be back on Monday. Stay tuned. Don't forget. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.